Amen. You may be seated. And if you are been with us quite some time, you know that we are in the book of Hebrews, and feel free to go ahead and turn there with me, Hebrews chapter 6. And today we'll be on verses 13 through 20, and last week we covered verses 7 through 12. And chapter 6 there's a lot of information there. We've covered it quite well. There's lots to go over, but I don't think I'm going to review quite in depth on all that today. But we'll at least hit some highlights for us. But thinking back through Hebrews, especially the 7 verse 12, we saw that there were two lands that were described there, an analogy of the people that were described. Both of them claimed to be right with God, but yet were not. One was right with God, truly. They had received the gospel. The author of Hebrews had assured them of their salvation. He could see their love for one another, which was stemming from their love for God. We also acknowledge that they were theologically weak and weak in their discernment, but yet there was enough there for the author to assure them of their salvation. But yet, there's this passage of the pressure that was on the Christians, especially in that day, in the Jewish setting, in the Jewish culture, was to return back to the temple. So the temple had become, you might say, kind of like Egypt of the great Exodus of Hebrews chapter 3 and 4. There was a desire to go back to Egypt in chapter 3 and chapter 4. So the author of Hebrews says believers, the true believers, are those who persevered. Those who endured the tribulation, the thirst, the pain, the hunger, and continued on and entered into the promised land. But unbelief was revealed through disobedience and the desire to return. The setting in this day, the desire to return is not to Egypt, but to return to the temple, to return to the old covenant, to return to the sacrifices, to take your lamb, to give it to the priest, to sacrifice for your